Picture this. You're in the middle of an argument. You are laying out all the facts. You're being perfectly rational, but the other person is just getting more and more defensive. You walk away totally frustrated, thinking, why won't they just listen to reason? Well, what if told you the reason is you? You might feel like you're being logical, but you could be making one of 5 subtle mistakes that are secretly sabotaging every argument you have. These habits feel like the right thing to do in the moment, but they're actually wrecking your personal and professional relationships, leaving you stuck in a cycle of frustrating, dead-end fights. Most of us handle conflict poorly because, let's be honest, nobody ever taught us how. We just copy what we saw growing up, and often that means learning destructive habits that create more tension. But here's the good news. Handling conflict intelligently is a skill. It's not a personality trait. It's a set of tools you can learn. Today, we're going to break down the 5 quiet signs that you're handling conflict all wrong and explore a simple, powerful fix for each one. By the end of this, you won't just see conflict differently. You'll have a roadmap to turn your arguments into opportunities for actual connection and growth. The first and most common sign is that your main goal is to win. In the heat of the moment, the disagreement stops being about the actual issue and turns into a battle of wills. It's a combat mentality. You're not trying to solve a problem together. You're trying to prove you're right and they're wrong. You're gathering evidence, prepping your counter-arguments, and just waiting for your turn to talk instead of actually listening. For example, imagine you and your partner are arguing about money. You show up armed with bank statements and a list of their recent purchases. Your goal isn't to build a budget that works for both of you. It's to prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that their spending is the problem. You deliver your points like a lawyer in a courtroom, and when they get defensive, you get mad. Why? Because you've turned them into your opponent. When one person wins an argument in a relationship, the relationship itself loses. The fix is to shift your mindset from competition to collaboration. Your new mantra is, seek to understand, not to win. Smart people don't enter a conflict to score points. They enter it to gather information. They put understanding and empathy first. Before you even state your case, you have to truly understand theirs. The next time you're in a fight, make it your mission to be able to explain the other person's perspective so well that they say, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Ask questions like, help me understand why this is so important to you, or what's your biggest concern here? When you stop trying to win, you create the space for a real solution to show up. You're no longer enemies. You're 2 people on the same team trying to defeat the problem. All right, the second sign is a tiny language habit that pours gasoline on the smallest fire. You use absolute statements like you always and you never. Think about it. You always leave your dishes in the sink. You never listen to me. These phrases feel like an observation, but they're actually a character attack. When you say, you always, you're not just describing one action, you're defining their entire identity as flawed. Plus, the statement is almost always a lie. Have they really, truly never listened? Of course not. So the other person's brain immediately ignores your point and focuses on the exaggeration. They stop hearing your frustration about the dishes and start hunting for that one time they washed them, just so they can say, that's not true, I did the dishes last Tuesday. And just like that, you're arguing about the accusation, not the actual problem. The fix is a simple but powerful communication trick called the I statement. Instead of starting with an accusing you, start with how you feel. The framework is this. I feel your emotion when the specific objective behavior, because the impact it has on you. Let's fix those toxic phrases. Instead of, you never listen to me, try this. Feeling hurt when talking and seeing you looking at your phone because it makes one feel like what is being said doesn't matter. See the difference? There's nothing to argue with. You're not stating some debatable fact about them. You're sharing your own undeniable feeling. This approach, what the Gottman Institute calls a gentle startup, moves the conversation from blame to vulnerability. It invites empathy instead of defense and keeps the focus where it belongs, on solving the issue, not attacking the person. The third sign you're handling conflict wrong is when you do what psychologists call kitchen sinking. This is where you throw everything but the kitchen sink into one argument. It starts with one small issue, but quickly snowballs into a giant fight about every mistake or grievance from the past. For example, a disagreement about being 15 minutes late for dinner turns into a 2-hour war. It starts with the lateness, but then you bring up that time they forgot your anniversary 3 years ago. Then you bring up how their mother was rude last Christmas. You keep piling on old, unresolved issues until you're both buried under years of resentment. The original problem is long gone, and the conflict becomes an unwinnable battle fought on too many fronts. You're not trying to resolve anything anymore. You're just trying to hurt each other. The fix here is to enforce a strict one-issue rule. When a conflict comes up, you both agree to stick to the topic at hand. The past is only useful if it helps explain a recurring pattern, but it should never be used as a weapon. If other issues pop up, acknowledge them and schedule a separate time to talk about them. You can say something like, "Hearing you're still upset about what happened last Christmas, and that definitely needs to be discussed. But for right now, can we focus on solving this issue about running late? Time can be set aside for the other thing later." This does two things. First, it makes the conflict manageable. You're trying to solve a single puzzle, not boil the ocean. Second, it respects the other issues by giving them their own dedicated time, instead of just using them as ammo in a fight. The fourth sign is one of the most destructive habits of all. You go completely silent. This is called stonewalling, and it's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that renowned relationship expert Dr. John Gottman identified as a top predictor of divorce. Stonewalling isn't just taking a moment to think, it's a full withdrawal. It's giving the silent treatment, refusing to answer, or just walking out of the room. To the person doing it, stonewalling feels like self-protection. Internally, they are physiologically overwhelmed, heart rate up, adrenaline pumping, and in full fight-or-flight mode. They shut down to escape the intensity. But to the other person, that silence feels like a weapon. It communicates total disapproval and says, "You aren't even worth responding to." This makes the conflict explode, as the other person often gets more desperate or aggressive just to get some kind of response. The fix isn't to force yourself to talk when you're overwhelmed. It's to replace destructive stonewalling with a healthy timeout. The difference is all in the communication. Instead of just shutting down, you say what's happening and make a plan to come back. You have to say, "Look, feeling really overwhelmed right now, and a break is needed," before saying something regrettable. Going to take 20 minutes to cool off, and then the conversation will be finished. That one sentence changes everything. You're taking responsibility for your emotions instead of punishing your partner with silence. You're reassuring them that you aren't abandoning them or the conversation, just pausing it. During that timeout, your only job is to self-soothe. Take a walk, listen to music, do anything except replay the argument in your head. Then, and this is the most important part, you have to keep your promise and come back. This builds trust and shows that you're committed to working through things together. The fifth and final sign is the one most people miss. You think the conflict is over when the yelling stops. You go to bed angry, wake up the next morning and just pretend nothing happened. No apology, no, "What was that about?" No effort to reconnect. You fail to repair the damage. A lot of people think healthy relationships are ones without conflict, but that's a total myth. Every relationship has conflict. The difference between a thriving relationship and a failing one isn't the absence of fights, but the presence of repair attempts. Smart people know that conflict is a chance to make the relationship stronger, but only if you stick the landing. Sweeping a fight under the rug doesn't make it go away. It just lets resentment fester and guarantees you'll have the exact same fight again. The solution is to master the post-conflict check-in. After you've both cooled down, whether it's an hour later or the next morning, one of you has to be brave enough to circle back and process the argument. It doesn't have to be a big, dramatic rehashing. It can be as simple as asking, "Hey, are we okay?" Or saying, "Apologies for how that went down. Can we talk about what happened?" The goal is to understand what went wrong in the process of the argument itself. Take turns answering questions like, What was being felt during that fight? What was the moment it started to go off the rails for you? And what's one thing that could be done differently next time? This isn't about refighting the original battle. It's about acknowledging the hurt, taking responsibility for your part, and reaffirming your connection. A good repair attempt hits the reset button. It clears the air and turns a painful moment into a lesson that actually makes you stronger together. So, let's recap. The 5 signs you're handling conflict wrong are: you're trying to win instead of understand. You're using words like always and never. You're kitchen sinking the argument. You're stonewalling. Or you're failing to repair after the fight. Handling conflict well isn't about being perfect. It's about having the right tools and the courage to use them. By shifting your mindset from winning to understanding, using I statements, sticking to one issue, taking healthy timeouts, and always repairing, you can transform the most difficult conversations in your life. If you recognized yourself in any of these, and let's be real, most of us will, let know in the comments which one you're going to work on first. It takes guts to admit it, and would love to hear from you. And if you found this helpful, do a favor and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.